Okay, so think about this for a second. What could a massive highway, we're talking tons of asphalt and steel, possibly have in common with a few lines of code? Just invisible signals zipping around. On the face of it, you'd say nothing, right? Well, today we're going to dive deep and uncover some really surprising connections. There's this hidden blueprint that ties them together, and honestly, it shapes pretty much everything in our world.
So to do this, we're going to look at two really cool examples. First up, the Ahmedabad-Dholera Expressway in India. It's a huge 109-kilometer project. And then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, we've got a REST API built with Python. So yeah, you've got a superhighway made of concrete and another one made purely for data.
And that really is the big question here, isn't it? What in the world could a highway in India and a block of code possibly have in common? Well, the answer is pretty amazing. And it shows us this kind of hidden architecture that's building our modern world, both the parts we can see and the parts we can't. All right, let's get into it. To really get the connection here, we've got to start with the why. You see, every single great engineering project, whether it's physical or digital, starts with a single core purpose. And for both our highway and our code, that purpose is simple. It's all about connection. So take the Ahmedabad-Dholera Expressway. This isn't just, another road. It's purpose-built. As this quote puts it, it's a lifeline. Its whole job is to connect this brand new up-and-coming Dholera smart city with the big established city of Ahmedabad. It's all about letting people, goods, and opportunities flow between them. Okay, now let's switch gears to the code. It might be totally invisible, but in API, that stands for Application Programming Interface, it does a surprisingly similar job. I mean, think about it. Just like that highway connects two cities, an API connects two different pieces of software so they can talk to each other. When you check the weather on your phone, that's an API pulling data from a weather service. When you order food delivery, yep, that's an API talking to the restaurant. Its entire reason to exist is to connect systems and let information flow. So you see, it doesn't matter if we're talking about cars on asphalt or data packets flying through fiber optic cables. The core idea, the foundational principle, is exactly the same. Both are engineered, purpose-built channels designed for one thing and one thing only: connection. Okay, so they have the same why. That's clear. But what about the how? How do you actually build these things? Let's take a look at the actual construction, and we'll start with the heavy stuff: the concrete and steel. The sheer scale of this project is just, well, it's immense. This isn't just a simple strip of pavement. We're talking 109 kilometers of highway, engineered for the future, right? With the foresight to expand from 4 lanes all the way to 8. Building it means putting up massive bridges over railway lines, designing these incredibly complex interchanges to handle traffic flow. It's just a colossal, physical, real-world undertaking. And get this. This isn't just some blueprint sitting on a desk. This thing is happening, and it's happening fast. We're talking 85% of the physical construction is already finished. That's incredible. You can literally go there and see the concrete being poured, the road taking shape. The progress is real, you can touch it. Now, that kind of progress is easy to see, right? It's tangible. But how do you build something that's totally invisible? Well, programmers might not be using concrete and steel, but believe me, they face the exact same kinds of critical decisions about their materials and tools. Let's look at our Python API for a sec. A developer has choices. They could build it just using the basic Flask framework. Think of that as kind of like using standard all-purpose tools for a simple job. Or they could use an extension called Flask RESTful. Now, this is more like bringing in a specialized pre-built system. It adds a ton more structure. It encourages what we call best practices. It just ensures the final product is super solid and reliable. Just like following a master architectural plan for a skyscraper. So the structures are built, one is concrete, one is code. But a road is pretty useless until cars are actually driving on it. So how do these two very different systems actually manage the flow they were designed for? Well, think about a highway. To let traffic get on and off smoothly without causing total chaos, you need these carefully designed interchanges, right? An API has the exact same concept. They're just called endpoints. An endpoint is just a specific digital address where a program can go to ask for information or to get something done. So let's walk through this journey step by step. Imagine a car flicking on its turn signal to get off at an interchange. That's exactly like a program sending a request to a specific URL, like /square/10, basically asking, hey, what's the square of 10? Then the car glides smoothly down that well-designed off-ramp. At the same time, the API's code is instantly calculating the answer. And finally, the car arrives at its destination, right? And the API sends back the answer. A perfect little package of data that says square equals 100. See? It's the exact same pattern. A request, an efficient process, and a clear result. Just in totally different worlds. And the end result for both? A huge leap in efficiency. The whole point of the expressway is to slash the travel time between Dalera and Ahmedabad. And the whole point of the API is to let different software programs talk to each other and share information almost instantly. It's what makes all those seamless digital experiences we depend on every day actually possible.
So when we zoom out and look at the big picture, what we see are these two seemingly opposite ways of creating things that are actually just reflections of the same deep human drive to connect, to build systems that just, well, work.
And what this really shows us is that the whole idea of infrastructure is changing, like right under our noses. For hundreds of years, infrastructure meant roads, bridges, ports, physical stuff. But today, the digital networks, all those APIs, the fiber optic cables buried underground, the massive cloud servers, they are every single bit as crucial for our society to function. So here's the big takeaway from all this. It doesn't matter if your medium is concrete or if it's code. The fundamental principles behind great engineering are always the same. It boils down to three simple things. Plan with a clear purpose, build with the best tools for the job, and above all, connect things to enable flow. Which kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. You know, in our world of smart cities, self-driving cars, all of that, the line between the physical world and the digital one is getting blurrier every single day. So the real question for our future isn't just what are we going to build? It's where does the concrete stop and the code begin?